Welcome back. All right, so 10 games to review if you're looking for the early games from today. Review's already on the channel. She's all done. So the 10 games tonight, interesting. Playoff pictures coming closer and closer to being clear. We're less than 3 weeks away from the end of the season. I'm happy, honestly. We have 2 more Saturday nights of hockey like this, and then the regular season's done. That's all she wrote. So let's go ahead and jump in with Florida in against Nashville Predators. And this game, one of the best examples of a team controlling Florida. Does it matter? So, Knight versus Saros in this one. Duclair has a rush chance. He fires wide. And then on their second shot, they score. It's Verhaeghe from Montour and Forsling at 3:43. And that was during a delayed penalty. So, you could look at that and go, well, maybe it's going to be one of those nights. But Johansson scores from Forsberg and Carey at 5:51. Was a wrist shot from in close. Not much chance for Knight. And so it might be a track meet. It wasn't. It really wasn't. It was a surprise because at that point I was like, all right, it's going to be a lot of goals. Shots are 3-2 for the Preds at 8 minutes. Verhaeghe has he gets stung on a shot block. There's a press by the Predators with 9.5 minutes left. The Panthers get a power play. That was killed off. Gudas versus Cunnin. Florida gets the power play because they ruled that Cunnin was the instigator, so he got 17 minutes in penalties for that. That's killed off, just the one shot. Things get scrummy after that. These teams not liking each other much, despite the fact they haven't seen each other much this year. They were division rivals last year, so there might be some of that. 30.5 seconds left. The Preds get a power play. So that rolls over into the second period where Huberdeau gets a shorthanded chance. That was saved. Then Forsberg hits a post. Power play's killed off. Panthers press at 2 minutes. Lauzon's denied from in close. Preds press back then at 4 minutes. Borowiecki blasts one wide on a rush opportunity. The shots are 6-3 for Nashville at 7.5 minutes. And Nashville was doing a good job of limiting Panthers' chances. They were not getting a lot of the rush opportunities. They weren't getting to the net very much. So we had another power play for Nashville. That was killed off. And then a 15-16 Lundell. Nice one here. Lundell scores from Reinhardt at 15-16. I put Lindell. It's Lundell. Florida push. Stupid hockey guy misspelling a name on the board. So Florida pushes for more. It's just like the Woods thing this morning. Anyways, Florida pushes for more, but it's 2-1 after 2 periods. So we go to the third period. Early press by the Panthers. Barkov fires one wide on a rush. Saros denies Montour. The shots are 4-1 for Florida at 6.5 minutes. So they're doing a good job of controlling the play early. But with 13:06 left, it kind of gets worse for Nashville because the Panthers get a power play. However, Nashville does kill that off. Forsberg then has a rush opportunity, fires wide. The Panthers are hanging on a bit with 5 minutes left. There's a press by Nashville with 3.5 minutes left. They would pull the goaltender with 2:08 left. And there was a post. A post for the Predators. I think it was Forsberg's. Could have been Duchesne's. Either way, they were a post away from tying it. So Huberdeau scores from Barkov at 18:53 to make it 3-1. Nashville calls a timeout. Doesn't matter at 19:10. Forsling adds a second empty netter to make the final score 4-1 for Florida. They go to 51-15-6. They've won a lot in a row. Nashville 41-26-4 with the loss. Your 3 stars in this one: Knight, Lundell, and Forsling. See, I spelled it right there. Shots 6 apiece in the first, 14-11 Nashville in the second, 8-5 Florida in the third. Final shots 25 each. So again, Florida didn't get to their normal 40 shots, but they win the game. The power plays Florida 0-3, which is also not normal for Florida right now, and Nashville 0-2. The hits 40-24 for Nashville. Knight saves 24-25. Saros saves 21 out of 23. So good defensive battle, and in the end, Florida wins it, showing that Florida can beat you in a lot of ways. All right, next up, the Toronto Maple Leafs at home against the Montreal Canadiens. So it was Allen versus Shalgren in this one. This might have been Shalgren's best game. Honestly, with the Leafs. There's a near miss for Marner on the opening shift. They had a nice video package for Matthews' 55th goal, and he acknowledged the crowd, and that was all nice. And, of course, he was going for 50 goals in 50 games tonight. Yep. So, the shots are 4-1 for Toronto at 6.5 minutes. Caulfield has a rush chance that's saved. The Leafs really mostly controlled the first half. The Habs press, but they're kept to the outside. And then at 13:32, it is Austin Matthews scoring his 50th goal in the last 50th games. In his last 50 games, becoming the first player to do it. I think they said Mario Lemieux was the last one to do it, 50 goals in 50 games. So Pretty strong run he's been on from Marner and Giordano at 13:32. However, on the initial shot, Jake Allen really hyperextended himself, and he pulled something there. He exited the game. So Allen gets hurt, so that's bad news for Montreal beyond the score. Matthews then adds another at 13:59 from Giordano and Hall. So welcome to the game, Sam Montembeault. Can you stop the best goal scorer in the game right now? No, not on your first shot anyways. So the Leafs then go to the power play. That led to a shorthanded chance for Suzuki. That was saved. The power play's killed off. Caulfield's then denied. He had a break out of the box. He wasn't the one that got penalized, but he was the one in the box for the penalty on the play. Leafs press with 3.5 minutes left. Marner to Tavares, near miss there. And in the final shift, the Habs do press, but going into the second period, it is 2-0 Toronto. Second period, Armia with a rush chance. Nice shoulder save by Shalgren on that one. Habs press. Again, they're kept to the outside. There's a power play for the Leafs. We then had 1 minute and 13 seconds of 4-on-4. Petrie has a shot that's saved. Everything gets killed off out of that. And then Edmondson scores shortly after Montreal's power play ends from Suzuki and Petrie at 5:58. So that makes it 2-1. It doesn't stay that way. Tavares scores from Mikheyev and Kerfoot at 8:07 to restore that 2-goal lead for Toronto. Leafs get a power play. It becomes 4-on-4, overlapping penalties. Everything gets killed off. And then right after Montreal's power play, Caulfield scores. So he stays red hot from Gallagher and Dvorak at 18:03. The dislike between these teams is ramping up late. We like to see that, right? 48.3 left. The Habs get another power play, and Giordano was quite unhappy in letting the referee know about it as he left the ice. I did not feel that he fouled on that play. So we go to the third period. The Leafs would finish the kill. The shots are 2-1 for Toronto at 4 minutes. The Habs press at 4.5 minutes. The Leafs would press back at 7.5. With 8:59 left, the Leafs get a power play. It then becomes 1 minute and 43 seconds of 5-on-3. There's a post for Austin Matthews away from the hat trick. Montreal does kill it off. And then with 1:58 left, the Habs get a power play. So that becomes a 6-on-4. Furious pressure by Montreal. They cannot tie it. They just didn't have enough time left. And so your final score is 3-2 for Toronto. With that win, they officially clinched a playoff spot. The Islanders would lose later tonight, which would have clinched it anyways, but they clinched it on their own terms. They go to 47-19-6 with the 3-2 victory. Montreal 20-41-11 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Matthews, Tavares, and Marner. If those are 3 stars of playoff games for Toronto, they will go places. Your shots in this one, 18-8 Toronto in the first, 11-10 Montreal in the second, 12-7 Toronto in the third. Final shots, 40-26 for Toronto. Power plays, Montreal 0-4, Toronto 0-5. Very unusual to see that from Toronto. Hits 43-32 for Toronto. It was a very physical game. Allen saves 14 out of 15. Montembeault was fine in relief, 23 saves on 25 shots. Considering you're going in against that lethal offense of the Leafs, that's not bad. Shalgren, 24 saves on 26 shots. I think it was one of his best games as a Leaf so far in his call-up. And it definitely makes things better for Toronto to have somebody they can trust as the backup while Mrazek's out, right? So, moving along. Columbus in against Detroit. So this was an entertaining game. Merzlikins versus Nedeljkovic. The shots were 3-1 Columbus, 3 minutes in, so they came out with that early jump. Bertuzzi has a net feed. That was cleared. Zadina has a shot that's saved and held. The Wings press at 6 minutes. Zadina had a rush chance that was blocked. Roslovic would open the scoring. He scores from Werenski at 13-14 with 1:04 left. Columbus gets the power play. So they come out of the first period up by 1 and on the power play. So the Wings finish the kill early in the second, and there's some dislike going on here. There's some scrums. There's some pushing and shoving. These teams not liking each other much either. Columbus goes back to the power play. There's a shorthanded chance for Suter. That deflects out. That's killed off, and then the Wings get a power play, which is also killed off. The Wings would then press at 8 minutes. The Wings score, but it's immediately waved off, so no goal there. Not much arguing either. The shots are 8-4 for the Wings with 9 minutes left, and then there's a 5-hole goal by Vrana at 13:41. So that ties the game. The Wings then press for another. Laine has a rush chance that's defended, and then it's Sam Gagner. He gets another from Stahl and Stevens at 17:21. We then had 2 minutes of 4-on-4. During the 4-on-4, Columbus would score. It is Sillinger from Werenski at 18:01. And on that play, Detroit takes a penalty, so Columbus ends up on the power play with a 2-2 tie. They do not score on it. So we go to the third period. Sillinger blocks a Sundqvist shot. Peak has a shot then that's blocked. And then Roslovic scores from line 8 4-on-4 on a pretty rough turnover by Filip Hronek. So that puts Columbus back in the lead 3-2. And this is where they had the telestrator up. And Mickey Redmond trying to work the telestrator and the arrows going back and forth. And you could just feel he wasn't all that happy with the whole telestrator thing. And then Ken Daniels kind of needles him about it, talking about, oh, yeah, pretty good with the telestrator there, Mickey. I don't know what I was doing. That was a disaster. It was great. Just standard Mickey Redmond, which is just, it's that gold standard of color. The Wings press at 9 minutes, but with 9:35 left, Columbus gets a power play. That was killed off, but then Danforth scores from Roslovic and Nyquist at 12:34. So, big goal there by Columbus. It gives them that's 4-2 at that point. Bertuzzi then can't bury one on a rush. Larkin, though, he blasts one in from Raymond and Osterley at 15:35. And then Vrana scores from Suter on a faceoff at 16:33. Now, here's the thing. Suter had the assist. I think Detroit loses that faceoff, and Vrana just pounces on the puck. That's the way I saw it. But anyways, that ties it up. Sundqvist was then robbed on a break. Things get brawly with 1:12 left, and they called a goalie interference penalty on Dylan Larkin. I thought it was a collision. I didn't necessarily think it warranted a goalie interference call, but that means that we go to overtime, and for the first 48 seconds, it's a 4-on-3 for Columbus. Columbus controls early. Nedeljkovic holds, though. The kills finished off. The Wings then press. Bjorkstrand had a rush chance. That was saved. Nyquist is denied twice. And then at 3:19, it's Roslovic getting the hat-trick goal from Nyquist and Werenski. And Detroit was not happy. I think they were looking for a call in overtime. They were not happy on that one. And so your final score is 5-4 for Columbus. They go to 34, 33, and 6. With the win, with the overtime loss, Detroit 28, 34, and 10. So, I know it hasn't ended up being a great year necessarily for Detroit, but still the record's nowhere near as bad as it was a few years ago. Your 3 stars are Roslovic, Vrana, and Merzlikins. Elvis had a very good game. Shots in this one, 14-10 Columbus in the first, 15-8 Detroit in the second, 10-7 Detroit in the third, 4-3 Columbus in the overtime. Final shots 38-33 for Detroit. Power plays, Columbus 0-5, Detroit 0-1. Hits 32-29 Columbus. Merzlikins saves 34 out of 38, and Delkovich saves 28 out of 33. So, again, entertaining game. The teams that are outside the playoffs routinely have very good games that are entertaining to watch. Next up, Rangers against the Ottawa Senators. There wasn't a lot of doubt in this game, pretty much from the opening faceoff, even though the score would have told you a story that wasn't accurate. So it's Forsberg versus Shesterkin. Kreider fires one wide on a rush early on. And then at 2:22, on the first shot that Ottawa gets, Watson scores from Kastelik and Kelly. So 1-0 Ottawa, first shot. Rooney tries to answer on a rush 5 minutes into this. The shots are 3-1 for the Rangers. They get a power play. That was killed off by Ottawa. The Sens were held to the one shot through the first half of the period. They would only get 3 shots in the first period. And Panarin would score at 12:32. One of those Panarin-type goals that shows why he gets paid the big money. And so 1-1 is the score. The Sens would press with 5 minutes left. But again, they only had 3 shots, and it's tied 1-1 after the first. Second period, early press by the Rangers. The Senators would get a power play. Aggressive kill by the Rangers. They don't allow a shot. So Kopp would end up scoring from Panarin and Miller at 6:56. Andrew Kopp continues to put up very good point totals for the Rangers. That was scored on a rush, and then at 9:05, Kreider gets his 48th of the season from Lindgren and Zibanejad. So suddenly it's 3-1 Rangers, and that's when I put the records up here and put the word clinched over Rangers, because I knew there was no way that Shesterkin was going to allow 2 goals. Are you kidding me? They scored on the first shot. That's just going to make him angry. So the Rangers, the Sens only had 5 shots in total when that third goal goes in for the Rangers, just to show how lopsided the play was to this point. The Rangers pressed for more. The Sens had a 4-on-2, and it went offside, which I thought told you how disjointed Ottawa was, and a lot of that is how the Rangers were playing them. So the Sens press, but they're kept to the outside, and then before the period's out, Strome scores, the third goal of the period for the Rangers, from Panarin and Lindgren at 17:27. And through 2 periods, the high danger opportunities were 12-1 for the New York Rangers. So that 4-1 score, pretty accurate. Third period, shots are only one apiece at 4 minutes as the Rangers can kind of lean back. And Igor making a stretch pass. Sure, why not? Just come out, make a stretch pass. It's not like he was having to face a lot of shots through the first 2 periods. Now, the shots are 4 apiece at 9 minutes. Before that, Rooney had an opportunity he couldn't quite bury. Norris fires one wide on a rush. Zub then has a blast that misses high, and that's part of the problem for Ottawa tonight too. Zone time, yes. Shots on net, not necessarily. Strome has a chance to save the Rangers would press, and before the game's out, Kreider scores his 49th from Vetrano and Braun at 17:31. So there's Frankie Vetrano on the board. Your final score is 5-1 for the New York Rangers. They go to 47, 20, and 6, and as I said, they clinched. So, again, they don't need the Islanders to lose. The Islanders did, though. So the Rangers clinch, the Leafs clinch. And for Ottawa, they're 26, 39, and 6 overall. Your 3 stars are Panarin, Kreider, and Lindgren. The shots 12-3 Rangers in the first, 13-6 Rangers in the second. And then in the third, Ottawa manages 13 shots to the 8 from the New York Rangers. Final shots are 33-22 Rangers. Overall, the power plays, both teams just went 0 for 1. The hits, 29-23 Ottawa. Forsberg saves 28 out of 33, and Shesterkin saves 21 out of 22. Not bad considering the first shot went in the net. So, yeah, pretty easy night overall for the New York Rangers tonight. All right, moving along. Calgary in against Seattle. So, I saw a comment on the preview saying, you should put a trap magnet next to Calgary. Not the way Calgary's playing right now. I did not view this as a trap game in the slightest. The way that Calgary's been playing, the way that Seattle's been up and down, I had a good feeling Calgary was going to win this. So Markstrom versus Grubauer in this one. Eberle has a rush chance that's blocked. And then Coleman gets his first goal in 14 games. He gets that from Hanifin and Anderson at 3:55, and that was only the second shot of the game for the Flames. So there you go. It's 1-0. However, Seattle would answer. At 5 minutes exactly, it's Kuhlman from Geekie and McCann. That was the second shot of the game for Seattle. So again, this is a game that looks like at the start we might end up with a big score, and we really don't. We actually end up with the same score between the 2 games, and they're both road teams. It's weird, right? So, Donato has a near miss as Seattle would press. Donskoy with a net feed. Nobody's there for that one. Calgary is doing a good job clearing the front of the net. Seattle presses with 3.5 minutes left, so the Flames press back on the next shift. Better second half by the Seattle Kraken in that period, but before the period's out, during a little bit of a press by themselves in the final minute, the Flames would score. And it's on a delayed penalty, too. It's Lewis from Hanifin and Dubé at 19:43. So that makes it 2-1 for Calgary, and that's one of those gut punches for Seattle that they played a pretty decent second half. Calgary still comes out with the lead. Second period, Flames press at 1.5 minutes. Coleman's denied. His shot was held. Seattle presses back at 4.5 minutes. Kuhlman is then denied by Markstrom. Both goaltenders playing pretty well to start the second. Power play for the Flames. They score on it. It's Stone who's suddenly scoring goals from Hanifin and Mangiapane at 8:39. Now, it counts as a power play goal even though it's exactly 2 minutes after the power play was done. This is a change the NHL apparently made this year or recently, where normally if it's exactly 2 minutes, technically the power play is over, but it makes sense to count those as power play goals because it's not like the player just emerges on the ice at exactly 2 minutes. It's not like there's a teleporter from the Starship Enterprise that brings players in. It's not a thing. So it makes sense to call and again, I've mentioned this before, I think if it's a couple of seconds after the power play ends, obviously the player's not back in the play. To me, that counts as a power play goal, and there should be a stat for tracking all that. Anyways, Seattle then gets a power play. That was unsuccessful. They go back, they get another power play. Dunn has a screenshot that's saved. That power play's killed off as well. So we go to the third with Calgary up by 2. Pretty good chance they're going to win it, right? Flames press, they draw a power play. So Seattle kills that off. The Flames get another power play. That is also killed off. Then they get another power play. Now at this point, you've got a team where you've got power play guys who are probably a bit tired from being on the ice that much, but you've also got a penalty kill that's figuring out how the power play works. So that was a pretty aggressive penalty kill by the Seattle Kraken, who again, they're down by 2. You can't allow another goal. Backlund was denied as the power play ended. The Flames did press after it was done. Seattle then gets a power play of their own. That was killed off as there's so much special teams in the third period of this game. Geekie's denied from the slot. They pulled the goaltender with 3:07 left. With 2:54 left, Seattle gets a power play, because of course they do. And during that, it is Toffoli from Dubé at 18:33. It's a shorthanded goal. It's an empty net goal for Toffoli, who reaches 20 goals. Dubé easily could have put that in the net. Instead, he gave it to Toffoli, and Toffoli buries it. So your final score is 4-1 for Calgary. They go to 44-19-9 with the win. Seattle 23-43-6 with the loss. And with other events that took place tonight, it's a really good chance that Calgary's going to hold that top spot right through the playoff, or right into the playoffs. So your 3 stars are Markstrom, Hanifin, and Kuhlman. So one of the Seattle Kraken did get into the 3 stars. The shots in this one, 10-8 Calgary in the first, 9 apiece in the second, 11-10 Seattle in the third. Final shots are 29-28 for Calgary. Power plays, Calgary 1 for 4, Seattle 0 for 5. So that really sunk them tonight. The hits, 26-17 for Calgary. Markstrom saves 27 out of 28. Grubauer saves 25 out of 28. So pretty solid, evenly played game overall. Markstrom's the difference. All right, now I need to change boards. Okay, Anaheim and Philly. Again, sometimes games between teams that aren't going to make the playoffs can be some of the most fun to watch. Although if you're a Philly fan, you might not have enjoyed this very much. So it's Stolarz versus Jones in this one. They had a ceremony for Lou Nolan, who's retiring at 50 years, right? So anyways, I watched part of it. I know that 50 years is a long time either way, whether he's retiring or not. And so, yeah, nice little ceremony there, and they had a ceremonial patch they were wearing for the game as well. Konechny can't bury one early, but during that same play, Sanheim does. He scores from Frost and Konechny at 1:39. Addard then scored from Lawton and Hodgson at 2:28. The nice thing with this was, it was originally given to Hodgson. Hodgson, you could see him go over to Addard and say, "It's your goal," and that's the first NHL goal for Addard in his career. The Ducks immediately call a timeout. Right call. We have a power play for the Flyers. There's a chance for Tippett that was blocked out. That's killed off. The shots are 8-2 for the Flyers at 8 minutes. So the Ducks came out slow in this one. We had another power play for Philly. Addard with a chance. Glove save there. That's killed off. The Philly announcers, it was a Philly feed that I had access to, and it sounds like they are big fans of both Addard and Hodgson. And again, we'll see whether that carries over into next season or not. Ducks press with 4 minutes left, but after one period, Philadelphia had a huge lead in the shots. They had 2-0 lead in scoring, and then the second period happened, and the Ducks, it was completely different. The second period kind of started towards the end of the first. So shots are 3-0 for the Ducks at 2.5 minutes. Milano gets his first in 12 games from Drysdale and Fowler at 3:06. Ducks press for another, and the control belongs to the Ducks at this point in the game. Like, they just had the puck on a string. Aston Reese gets one from Henrique and Schuster at 4:38. He tipped it. Henrique had the blast from the point. Not much of a chance on that one for Jones. The shots are 8-1 for the Ducks at 6.5 minutes. So it's the absolute opposite of the first period, and the Ducks with the 2 goals instead of the 2 goals the Flyers had in the first. Pressed by the Ducks at 8.5 minutes. In fact, they had the Flyers pinned down for a while there. Then there's a post for Konechny where he had an open net. So gaping cage, he hits the post instead. Simone has a chance that's saved and held. The Ducks press with 8 minutes left, and they get themselves a power play, and they score on it. It's Zegras from Vakanainen and Drysdale at 14:13. It was a pretty goal because it's the Zegras goal, so of course it is. Then there's a last-minute press for Anaheim. So coming out of that second period, it's 3-2. Philly's got to wake up. They do. At 3:53 of the third period, the Flyers tie it. It's Provorov from Thompson and York. The Flyers then try for another. They have the momentum in their favor. Hayes has a rush chance that deflects out. Thompson can't bury one. It's all Flyers. The shots are 7-3 for Philly at the half. And then that switch, it happens again. So the first period was mostly Flyers. The second period's all Ducks. The first half of the third is all Flyers for the most part. Second half of the period, it's the Ducks. So Terry scores from Zegras and Grant at 11:38 on a face-off win. Nice play off the face-off. Zegras finds Terry. Ducks then get a power play. That's killed off. But at 14:33, Derek Grant gets a goal to go with his assist from Schuster, who had 2 assists in this game, and Simone. So suddenly it's 5-3 for the Ducks. The Philadelphia Flyers did pull the goaltender relatively early. Zegras had a shot at the empty net. That was blocked, though. Your final score is 5-3 for Anaheim. They go to 29-32-12 with the win. For Philadelphia, 23-38-11 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Zegras, Addard, and Drysdale. So all 3 of them young, up-and-coming players. The shots in this one, 16-6 Philadelphia in the first, 17-4 Anaheim in the second, 13-11 Philly in the third. Final shots, 34-33 for Anaheim. Power plays, the Ducks 1 for 2, Philadelphia 0 for 2. The hits, 24-22 Anaheim. Stolarz saves 30 out of 33. Jones saves 29 out of 34. So, entertaining game. And again, if you're a Flyers fan, probably not a result. Well, maybe. I mean, at this point, for the teams that are out of the playoffs, you're looking at the draft lottery, right? Just draft position, right? All right. Next up, Islanders in against the St. Louis Blues. So I kind of had to. Now, there are two No Mercy magnets on the board. I could not make a No Mercy magnet fit where the NHL logo is, so I put it at the bottom of the board. I hope people will forgive me and understand. Sometimes it just doesn't fit at the top of the board, not with the 5 game boards. So Varlamov versus Binnington in this one. Binnington needed a big game. Binnington's had some really rough starts lately, and he got the big game. So the shots are 2-0 for the Islanders at 4 minutes. Blues get a power play. Perron has a chance that goes wide. That's killed off. Then the Islanders get a power play. Nelson is robbed during that. That's killed off as well. Chara has a blast that's saved. There's a post for Lee during a press. So I thought it was a really good start for the Islanders, but Leddy opens the scoring from Thomas and Tarasenko at 14-21. Then the Blues get a power play. That was killed off, but the momentum is in their favor. Tarasenko would add one from Parayko and Thomas at 17-10. Blues then press for more. So suddenly that momentum is all in their favor. They're up 2-0 after 1. Second period. The Islanders started off pretty well. They had 3 shots at 3.5 minutes. Blues had none. But at 4:05, Falk scores from Saad and Perron. And then at 5:41, Falk scores again, this time from Kyrou and Barbashev. Then we have a bench minor to the Islanders. So the Blues get a power play. Shen has a blast that's saved. That's killed off. The shots are 10-4 for the Blues at the half. So it's all St. Louis at this point. Blues press with 6.5 minutes left. Eventually they would score again. Barbashev scores from Kyrou and Falk at 16:57. So Falk had an amazing game. But Hutton would score from Nelson at 18:41. That is Hutton's first NHL point. So obviously his first NHL goal as well. But St. Louis doesn't let him enjoy it for long. Thomas scores from Tarasenko and Buchnevich at 19:20. It's 6-1 after the second period. Third period, early press for the Islanders. The Blues get a power play. There was a near miss for Brendan Saad. That's killed off. O'Reilly was then denied after it was done. The Islanders get a power play. That's killed off. The shots are 8-3 for the Islanders with 8.5 minutes left. And up by 5 late in the game, the Blues are still blocking shots. They're still dropping the block shots. The Blues did press with 3 minutes left, and they hold on. They win 6-1. Yeah, no mercy. They go to 42-20-10 with the win. The Islanders 33-29-9 with the loss. So again, that loss would have clinched things for the Rangers in Toronto. It's not necessary, but that loss definitely is a dagger for the hopes of the New York Islanders, considering that Washington won today, so that brings that magic number down a lot. Your 3 stars are Falk, Thomas, and Binnington. I know they're not going to make it, but it's fun to just pretend that there's some kind of a drama about who's going to finish in the playoffs in the East. Your shots are 12-9 Seattle in the first. 12-9 St. Louis in the first. 14-10 St. Louis in the second. 12-5 Islanders in the third. Both teams had 31 shots. The Islanders 0 for 2 on the power play. St. Louis 0 for 4. The hits 14-10 Islanders. 14 hits isn't a very Islanders-like number. Varlamov, 25 saves on 31 shots. Binnington, 30 saves on 31 shots for him. So that's a huge game for Binnington. This was very important. I know it's a 6-1 win. It's great and everything. Binnington having a big game like that, very, very important at this point. All right, moving along. Colorado and Edmonton. This felt like a playoff game. It absolutely did. And if this had been a playoff game, I think it would still be going. I think we'd be looking at double overtime in this. So it was Kemper versus Koskinen, and both goalies came to play tonight. Newhook's denied on a turnover. The Avs had the early jump. 7 minutes in, they were up 3-1 in the shots. Makar's denied. Koskinen holds. Oilers rush fizzles out. The Avs rush back. Strong forecheck going on for the Avs as well. It looked like this could be an ugly one in favor of the Avs. They just didn't have any goals at this point. Puljujarvi's robbed. The Oilers have some momentum after that. Nurse is then denied. O'Connor has a blast that's saved as the Avs press back. Kane has a rush chance that's a glove save then for Kemper. And in the last minute, there was a press by the Oilers. So a really entertaining first period, no score after that. Second period, Early press by the Oilers. Draisaitl has a net drive that's blocked out. Some good back and forth. Both teams getting rush opportunities. There's a press by the Oilers at 6 minutes. And up to this point, we had 3 posts for Edmonton and 1 for Colorado. So the end score is one thing. And if shots had just been a little more accurate, maybe we're not praising the goalies quite as much. But the posts are not the net. Glove save then on a Byram shot. Fogle has a rush chance that's saved. Sturm's denied on a break. The shots are 11-3 in favor of the Oilers with 9 minutes left. But it felt like Colorado was getting a little bit better as the period went along. The Oilers did get a power play. And then towards the end of it, Nichushkin, shorthanded rush. He draws a power play. There was 2 seconds left, so there's 2 seconds of 4-on-4. Well, I mean, the face-off's in the Edmonton end, so basically it's creating a power play right there. But that's killed off, and then the Oilers press after. The Avs press back with 3 minutes left. And then in the closing seconds, Nurse was denied by Kemper. So we go to the third period. Good back and forth early on. The Avs' fourth line presses at 2.5 minutes. Manson has a rising shot that's held. It was a deflection that's held onto. But then Fogle, great tip on a shot from Nurse at the point. 5:24, the Oilers open the scoring. So the tip shot by Fogle. And I was thinking that could be the game winner. We might be looking at a 1-0 game. McKinnon has a rush that goes wide. Puljujarvi was denied. McKinnon has a net feed that wouldn't go. Rantanen was denied. Kemper then denies McDavid with 6 minutes left. There was a lot of really good opportunities. I didn't throw them all on the board, but there was a lot. So if there's a game from tonight that you can go and watch right now, honestly, this would probably be my recommendation. So eventually, the Avs tie it. McKinnon scores from Nichushkin and Taves at 14:53, and he buries it on a rebound. Makar then nearly adds another. With 2:24 left, the Avs are granted a power play, which leads to the fans letting the ref know that he sucks, which is their want to do in life, I guess. Koskinen saves really good chances, and that's understating it. Really, the Avs had some excellent opportunities. Koskinen denies them. That's killed off, and again, Kemper's just fantastic. So, Koskinen saves. Rantanen's denied. That's killed off. 4 shots on goal. We're going to overtime. I skipped to the overtime. Overtime. Oilers control early. McDavid nearly banks one in off of McKinnon in front of the net. Hyman can't get one in the net. He was in close. The Avs control. They cough it up, though. And this was the thing. In that overtime, there seemed to be more turnovers between the teams than usual. With 2:31 left, the Oilers get a power play. A timeout is called immediately because it's an overtime power play. It's killed off. Kemper's fantastic, just like Koskinen was on the one with 2:24 left in the third period. Both goaltenders are absolutely stealing the show. Absolutely. So we go to the shootout, and Nathan McKinnon ends up getting the winner. So Colorado wins this one 2-1 in a shootout. They go to 52-14-6. They continue their winning streak. The 6-game winning streak for the Oilers is over, but they get a point against Colorado, which is huge. They go to 42-25-6. They lose a point to Calgary, but they gain a point on the Kings with this one. Your 3 stars are Koskinen, Kemper, and Fogle. The shots, 11-10 Colorado in the first, 16-5 Edmonton in the second, 18-13 Colorado in the third. In the overtime, this is not a typo. I didn't make a mistake. The shots were 11-0 for Edmonton. 11 shots. So this is why I'm surprised Koskinen's the number 1 star, because Kemper robbed him. Final shots are 50-34 for Edmonton. Both power plays go 0 for 2. Hits 32-25 for Edmonton. Kemper saves 49 out of 50, and Koskinen saves 33 out of 34. So, it's one of those things where I look at the 3 stars and they're close. To me, I would have gone Kemper, Koskinen, and then I would have given it to McKinnon for the shootout winner and the tying goal. But that's me. Anyways, moving along. Great game. Like I said, if you're going to go back and watch anything from tonight, that would be my recommendation. Vancouver at home against San Jose. So again, I've used the Vancouver, the native designed Orca. I'll show it again. I showed it the last time I used it. So this is kind of a fun decal that I got from the Canucks store van base. They shipped it to me, and so I have these magnets to use. I like to use different logos. I don't know if anybody's noticed, like San Jose. It's the old San Jose logo. So it was Kakkonen versus Demko, and of course, against the Canucks, Kakkonen played the best game I think he's played as a San Jose goaltender. Barabanov was down. He took a puck to the air early on there. Dickinson would open the scoring at 2:03. Merkley was down on the play, and it was on a hit from Burrows, which caused some controversy. Merkley would come back into the game, but it meant that when Dickinson rushes up the ice, they were technically kind of shorthanded there. So that's scored on the rush. Canucks then get a power play. That was killed off. I'm going to be saying that a lot. We had a fight between Gregor and Lockwood. The Sharks get a power play. It then becomes a 5-on-3. They do score on the 5-on-3. It's hurdle from Meyer and Carlson at 7:34. That is the 5th 5-on-3 goal allowed by the Canucks, which they said leads the league. Meyer has a chance that's saved, and they killed the 5-on-4. So they allow the 5-on-3 goal. They don't allow the 5-on-4 goal. Canucks press at 9 minutes. They get a power play. It's killed off. The Canucks get another power play. Right, it's killed off. The Sharks, they get a power play too. Right, that's killed off. It's just, again, this is a great game. This one is a little bit stop and start. A little bit of just a lot of special team stuff. And anyways, so Merkley did return, as I said, towards the end of the first period. And so we go to the second period. He was on one of the power plays at the end of the first period for San Jose. So second period, Nieto has a wraparound that saved. Good early flow to the game. And eventually Garland gets his first in 20 games on a turnover rush opportunity. Chason with the assist at 4:49. Chason suddenly getting a bunch of points. Bonino nearly answers. The Canucks then get a power play. Patan blasts one wide. That's killed off. The Sharks are ahead in the shots 6-4 at 8 minutes. So we get another power play for the Canucks. Chason nearly scores. It's saved on the goal line. It's killed off. Gregor nearly ties it. The Canucks press with 5.5 minutes left. But Bonino deflects one in from Burns and Gregor at 18:37. The Sharks get a power play. It then becomes a minute and 44 seconds of 4-on-4, which rolls over into the third period. So everything gets killed off. The Canucks now 0 for 6 on the power play, including that 16-second power play to start the third. Chason's denied, and then Chason scores on his next opportunity from Horvat and Myers at 2:07. So the Canucks get their 7th and final power play. Did they score on it? No. Canucks press at 9 minutes. Meyer fires one wide on a rush after that. The Sharks then press with 6.5 minutes left. They pulled the goaltender with more than 2 minutes left in the game. There's back-to-back icings by the Canucks. Always makes me a bit nervous when I see back-to-back icings like that. Burns hits the outside of the net, and then with 39.3 seconds left, just to make things more interesting, it becomes a 6-on-4, which happens a lot. It happens a lot in games now. It becomes a 6-on-4. So the Sharks on the power play, and then with less than a second left, Shen ends up hitting the empty net. So Luke Shen with a goal. Your final score is 4-2 for the Vancouver Canucks. They go to 35-28-10. San Jose 29-33-9 with the loss. Your 3 stars are Chason, Bonino, and Horvat. Bonino has scored 30 points in 29 games against Vancouver. So he likes playing against Vancouver. Shots are 15 apiece in the first, 14-13 Vancouver in the second, 10-8 Vancouver in the third. Final shots are 39-36 for Vancouver. So there's a lot of shots, a lot of power plays. San Jose goes 1 for 5. Vancouver 0 for 7. So that's not great. Your hits are 24-16 for Vancouver. Kakinen saves 35 out of 38. Demko saves 35 out of 37 and becomes one of the many, I guess not that many, goaltenders in Vancouver history that's hit 30 wins in a season. So this is his first 30-win season. Markstrom didn't hit it. The most recent goaltender to hit it was Luongo 10 years ago. So that's a good thing. It's a good thing that they have a starting goaltender they believe in that has 30 wins, and you can build on it from here. I don't think they make the playoffs, but at least they've gotten to 80 points, and they're trying, Dallas. They're trying. All right, not sure why Dallas slipped out there. We'll just forget that I said it. All right, next up. The Vegas Golden Knights against the Arizona Coyotes. Vegas, of course, having seen Dallas lose earlier today, all they have to do is beat Arizona. They made it look kind of easy at parts here. So it's Vejmelka versus Leonard. The Coyotes press at a minute and a half. Janmark has a fast break that's denied. The shots are 4-0 Vegas at 4 minutes. Eventually they break through. It's Whitecloud. Scoring from Marchessault and Carlson at 6 minutes and 23 seconds. He just roofed that one. Pacioretty then adds one 17 seconds later from Stevenson and McNabb at 6:40. So at 8.5 minutes, the shots are 7-1 Vegas. Vegas has more goals than Arizona has shots. But at 10:14 on a rush, Barrett Hayden scores from Carcone and Kessel. So is there a chance? Not really. You can see the magnet down here and the score up here. Anyways, Coyotes get a power play. It had a good cycle to it. But when you have a cycle, you're not getting opportunities. They only had the one shot. It is killed off. Janmark misses on a rebound when they had an opportunity. Things get scrappy with 5:06 left. the shots evened up. Coyotes were pressing. They did even up the shots. They were even ahead in shots at one point during that period and ended up leading in shots after the first period. There's a power play for Vegas then. That's killed off. We go to the second period. Scores 2-1. Not for long. 38 seconds in. It's Dodonov scoring from Theodore and McNabb. Vegas then presses for more. The shots are 4-3 for Vegas at 4 minutes. There was good back and forth here, but Vegas, they're just getting the benefit of having more talented players, really. Like, I thought the Coyotes were playing well. And this is a game that I think would have been closer on the scoreboard, but they just don't have the talent level that Vegas does. And Pacioretty being back tonight gave them a big boost. So, power play for Vegas, that was killed off, and they start really taking over in the shots at this point. 12-5 with 8.5 minutes left. Amadio's denied in close. Eichel's then denied as Vegas presses. The fans tell the ref that he sucks, which is important to let a ref know while your team is up 3-1. So you go to the third period, 3-1. Coyotes not getting to the net at this point. The Avs keeping him to the outside. Boyd had a chance that was saved and held. The shots are 4-2 for Vegas at 5 minutes. And then at 5:24, McNabb scores from Stevenson. Good press by Vegas. They get it in the net. Pacioretty was providing a screen in front. Coyotes press for a response. Then there's a power play for Vegas. That's killed off. But Vegas would score again. It's a decision from Ronbjerg at 12:05. And then Eichel scores from Dodonov at 17:38 to round out the scoring and make sure they get a no mercy magnet on the board as they win 6-1. They win by 5 goals, which is the allowance for the no mercy magnet. They go to 40-29-4 with the win. Arizona 22-45-5 with the loss. So for Vancouver at 80 points, their odds of making the playoffs are hurt by Vegas but getting the win tonight. But I really don't see them passing Vegas anyways. But again, there's still about 10 games left. The Canucks have 9 games left. Vegas has 8 games left. We'll see what happens. Your 3 stars are McNabb, Leonard, and Lecision, which surprises me because I thought Pacioretty was a huge reason why they won tonight. I thought he was going to get one of the stars. Your shots are 13-10 Arizona in the first, 16-9 Vegas in the second, 13-8 Vegas in the third. After kind of a slow start, they got it together. Your final shots are 39-30 for Vegas. Power plays, Arizona 0-1, Vegas 0-3. Hits 32-29 for Arizona. The power play might be one thing Vegas has a concern with, but that's kind of standard for them. Vejmelka saves 33 out of 39. Leonard was great, 29 saves on 30 shots. But again, when your goaltender's great and your team wins 6-1, doesn't get as much attention. But yeah, big night for Leonard, and that's important. Leonard seems to have his game in gear, which is bad news for the rest of the West. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below regarding any of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.